Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another Lost in the Pond reaction, and this one is 4 ways British and American beaches are very different. And I mean, yeah, I'm definitely expecting a big difference. When you think of places in the US, you've got Florida, which will have some of the nicest beaches. California will have some of the nicest beaches. I assume a lot of the just coastal states will all have nice beaches, and in the UK, some beaches here are quite nice, but I mean, the weather doesn't always match it, and it's just one of those things that, I mean, I still go to the beach and I enjoy it a lot, no matter what, no matter how nice or bad the beach is. Again, it won't compare to the US ones, the majority, but it's still fun to just go to the beach and just chill, because it's usually a lot cooler. And I'm going tomorrow, so the timing of this video is pretty perfect, to be honest, but man, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get to the beach, because the weather is just lovely, and you just can't wait. You know how it is. You know how it is. When you go to the beach, it's just a nice feeling. You get excited. I mean, I get excited. You just get excited. It's like a holiday for me. That's like my tropical holiday. I've never been on a plane. I've never been on holiday anywhere. So this is like my tropical holiday for me. But yeah, quick shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter. Links in the description for those interested in following. Same for my Patreon. Links are there for those interested. My Patreon is doing crazy right now. So if you're interested in that, a lot of Patreon exclusive videos, a lot of videos that get blocked go there. And I mean, yeah, links are all in the description. But let's get into this and let's see what Lawrence has for us today, man. I'm intrigued to see the comparison.
Hello, I'm Lawrence.
Oh my fucking god, he's loud. It just fucking blew up my ear.
And I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to the things either side of it. Beaches. Remember beaches? Beaches were a big part of my childhood. I was born in the seaside town of Cleethorpes. I holidayed in Devon, and I...
Where was he from?
Cleethorpes, I holidayed...
Cleethorpes.
Born in the seaside town of Cleethorpes, I holidayed in Devon, and I watched things like Jaws, a film depicting terrible tragedies at sea, and Jaws the Revenge, a terrible tragedy. But those childhood experiences were only a taster of what was to come. After moving to America, I realized that many universal seaside traditions from my youth weren't universal at all. The British and American beach culture were...
Bro, beach... I was going to like cultures. I didn't even think about that, because in the UK, bro, fish and chips is a guarantee. You're getting, well, maybe not fish, but chips. It's called fish and chips, but you're getting chips no matter what. Anyone's getting chips. And as well as that, just getting like an ice cream, man. For me, that's like seaside culture. There's usually some fairs. I never used to go on them. But for me, that's my childhood. And even now, just fish and chips every time I go to the beach, bro.
Like chalk and cheese or the word lieutenant. Sure, your standard beach will usually come with large helpings of sand, waves and David Hasselhoff, but look closer, because everything from the sea life to the beach food is quite different on either side of the pond. So pull out your bucket and spade as we take a look at 4 ways British and American beach culture is very different.
Oh, well, I didn't see culture. It just says beaches, okay. I was thinking he was going to compare the beaches. He's going to compare like different things. I'm actually really interested in this now. Food.
It's often said that the biggest difference between Britain and America is that America thinks 100 years is a long time and Britain thinks 100 miles is a long way, but that's not it. The biggest difference is food. And while that's the sort of thing that I might say after subsisting only off a single fajita, it's even true at the seaside. For instance, my American wife had never heard of sticks of rock. And if you're like her, a stick of rock is a type of stick-shaped boiled confectionery.
I never had these at the seaside. I didn't know they were seaside foods. I know I used to have these, but maybe I did have them at the seaside. I used to just occasionally have them. Probably the worst thing for your teeth. I'm not going to lie, it's just sugar and it's just hard. The thought of eating these now makes me feel sick, but as a kid, they did slap, man.
Sold at seaside resorts in Britain. They're painful to eat. In fact, Venn diagrams show a significant overlap between rock consumption and stereotypes about British teeth. Willy Wonka himself would have ruled it a step too far, and while the Candyman thinks he can, he bloody can't. But another staple of British seaside is the 99 Flake. This is a soft-served ice cream topped off with a Cadbury flake. It's immense. But to me, few things are more immense than the meal of my hometown. Fish and or chips. Don't get me wrong, fish and or chips is plentiful in America. It's just not particularly synonymous with American seasides. To uncover every food item that is, I'd need a notepad, a dietary translator, and about 26 hours. That's because American beach food varies from region to region. In New England, they're all about their clam cakes and pier fries.
So that's kind of similar to the UK. Pretty similar. I mean, I was never really big in these sorts of chips. But then again, they probably still slap just as good. But this is probably what will be the most similar to the UK.
It's sort of like fish and or chips, but without a knife. In the mid-Atlantic, New Jersey sells Rippers. These aren't tiny clones of Peter Sutcliffe, but a type of hot dog that burst after being deep-fried in oil. I want that right now.
Yeah.
In the Great Lakes, particularly in Michigan, something that smelled fried was fried smelt. Fried smelt is basically tiny battered fish, but it's also the reason my cat is staring at me right now with all the intensity of Quint from Jaws. On that note, southern beachgoers apparently need something with a little bite. Restaurants accommodate this by putting fried alligator on the menu. At first, I assumed this was just another American food title that comically incorporated animals. You know, like elephant ear, puppy chow, and hello panda. But fried alligator is actual alligator. And in case you're wondering, the meat can only be legally sourced from alligator farms, which apparently exist outside of the James Bond.
Alligator farms. Imagine working on an alligator farm. That has to be one of the most dangerous jobs in the world.
Universe. Bearing the berry imported from Brazil, acai bowls are all the rage on the West Coast, where it's important to have a beach body like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown. In the Pacific Northwest, people dig for and eat razor clams. Despite their name, razor clams are not suitable objects for shaving with. If I could speak to my younger self, that's what I'd tell him. And in Hawaii, they're all about their poke. And when I say their poke, I mean it. This fish salad originated on the islands, along with the ukulele and the surfboard. Speaking of which...
Objects.
So much for edible objects. What?
Surfer dude. What's the sign? Surfer dude or something like that. I can just imagine like in LA, there's a lot of surfer dudes, ain't there? You can't really, when people do surf it, but I'm not one of them. I mean, I don't even try. I get too cold. I don't go that deep into the waters, man. Because the waters here just are colder and it never gets hot enough to do. Well, it does, but I'm a bit of a pussy, to be honest. But I can definitely imagine seaside culture, and I do know beachside or seaside culture is going to be so different for sure.
What about the kind that you don't stick in your mouth? This should definitely apply to windbreaks, which are useful for breaking coastal wind, less so for breaking your own. They were all over British beaches
Everywhere.
when I was a kid, and by all accounts you still see them, but I wasn't sure of their popularity stateside, so I fielded responses on Twitter. On the whole, my American followers arrived at my consensus that windbreakers aren't really a thing over here. This accounts for why George Lucas wrote lines about sand getting everywhere. Moreover, the British have another way of evading the elements. Lining the sands of several beaches up and down Britain.
Bro, these are the
beach
weirdest
huts
things,
are
man.
also used
People like book them out and like own them. Little beachside homes,
by
basically.
beachgoers for getting changed, storing belongings, and definitely not for acting out the name of a fruity cocktail. But there's one other thing to note about beach huts. You're far less likely to find them in America. This is perhaps not surprising, given that the southern and eastern coasts frequently endure enormous hurricanes. But if America did have them, there's one item that they're more likely to store than us Brits: surfboards. While surfing has made some waves in Britain, it ain't got nothing on America. This calls to mind the song Surfin' USA by rock and roll legends the Beach Boys. Tragically, of course, the song was later covered by Aaron Carter. But modern surfing came to the US in the early 1900s via the Hawaiian surfers Duke Kahanamoku and George Freeth, the latter of who
Bro, I love his comedy so much. It's just he's so dry about
died
it,
during
man.
the global flu pandemic of 100 years
Sarcastic.
ago. That said, the relative absence of surfing doesn't mean that Brits don't have anything to ride at the beach, and I'm not just alluding to what they get up to in their huts. I'm talking about donkey rides. Throughout the UK, a popular
never seen these
seaside
before.
pastime is riding donkeys on the beach, and this is an activity enjoyed not by humans, but children. As someone who's done it, I'd always assumed that this happened the world over, but by all accounts it's a weird British thing. My hope is that our two countries can come together to invent donkey surfing. Until then, let's talk about other seafaring animals.
Sea life. Oh, this
It's
is
often
not
said
gonna
that
compare.
Britain and America are two nations divided by a common language, but they're also two nations divided by 300 million cubic kilometres of water. Because of this, and because America has a secret second ocean out back, it stands to reason that some marine animals get lost in the pond. Take, for example, the great white shark. In Jaws the Revenge, a great white disguised as a Fisher-Price toy swims from Martha's Vineyard to the Bahamas after catching wind of Ellen Brody's travel plans. And all of that totally checks out because great whites do like to roam the shores of those places, but also the shores of many other not Britain places. One of those places is California, where fatal great white attacks are the highest in the nation. Of course,
I didn't even know there were sharks in our oceans. Wait. Are there sharks in England? Around 40 species of sharks can be found around the British coastline, with at least 21 believed to live here all year round. On top of these, some sharks visit the UK during certain months, including one of the largest fish in the ocean, the basking shark. Are there dangerous sharks? Only a few sharks are potentially dangerous to humans. None of these have ever reported in British waters. There have also been no unprovoked shark bites in British waters since records began in 1847. Fucking hell. Shark. I can't type. Consistent with long-term trends, the United States experienced the most unprovoked shark bites in 2020 with 33 confirmed cases. This is 19.5% lower than the 41 incidents that occurred in the US in 2019. Oh my days. The 33 cases represent 58% of the worldwide total. Oh my... Bro, imagine getting bit by a shark. I can't imagine what that must... Like... Oh my... I can't imagine.
There have only been about 15 of those in the last century, but a record is a record. On the other hand, fish such as the Atlantic cod, Atlantic plaice, or Atlantic mackerel only grace America's northeast. In Britain, these surround the entire country like moving boxes currently surround me. In fact, everything that I just said is true of the Atlantic puffin too. Often found on cliffs up and down Britain, Atlantic puffins always seem like Britain's consolation prize for missing out on penguins. Of course, there are plenty of other birds that we missed out on too. You might recall that the British wartime singer Vera Lynn famously sang, "There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover." The problem is Dame Vera lied. Bluebirds are unique to North America. And I've just realised that Dame Vera might be watching this. What I meant to say was, Dame Vera, your American lyricist lied. Actually, he was just confused, like me. Speaking of words... It's often said that Britain and America are two nations divided by 300 million cubic kilometres of water, mainly by me, but they're also two nations divided by a common language. Why should life at the beach be any different? Earlier, when discussing food, I neglected to include what Americans call cotton candy. That's because it's available at seasides on either side of the pond, except in Britain, there's one crucial difference. It's not called cotton candy, it's called dental loss. I'm joking, it's called candy floss. It's sort of the perfect way to distract children as you walk along the promenade, or should I say, boardwalk. It's hard to know because both words have currency in both countries. It's just that promenade is foremost in Britain while boardwalk is more prominent in the US. Equal disparity can be found over the pronunciation of a certain floating device used for navigation.
A buoy. That's a buoy, right? I think that's a buoy.
Underwater objects and eliciting the question, what is that thing? A buoy can serve many purposes. Its biggest purpose, though, is starting flame wars between Brits and Americans, the latter of whom usually pronounce it buoy. But are you sick of all those arguments? I am. How about this, right? Just for once, let's rise above it. Let's not take the bait. Let's ride the wave together. It's an ideal worth floating. I'll stop now. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you really miss the beach like I do, and if your beach body's...
Oh, I don't miss the beach anymore, man. I'm so happy the beaches are back, bro. I say the beaches are back. Lockdown's over and I can actually travel. Tomorrow's going to be a fun day, but... Yeah, man. I was sort of expecting him to actually compare beaches, but I feel like I prefer this a lot more. A lot more. But at the same time, I would like to see like the difference in UK versus US beaches. Nicest beaches in the USA. I've got to see. I'm going to do the nicest beaches in each country and the worst beaches in each country. There's a lot of Florida here, man. Hawaii, Oregon, Texas. Oh yeah, I forgot Texas. There is parts of it that are actually on the coast. I didn't really think that, but obviously. Oh mate, I mean this just doesn't compare, bro. Look at this. Oh, that is a piss take, man. I'm so jealous. There are a few like waters in the UK that are kind of bluish at certain times of the year, but I feel like this is just like this all year round, isn't it? I mean, fucking hell, that's paradise, man. How can you compare to this? How can you compare anything to this? Oh my days, man. And now let's see in the UK. Yay! Yay! I mean, to be fair, for what I'm used to, this does look nice. It does look very nice, but I'll show you a beach that I go to a lot. Cromer Beach, UK. Don't laugh, right? Don't laugh. This is, what the fuck is this? This is not what it looks like. This is it, pretty much. I tell you what, though, this pier, bro. There's a hot chocolate place. There's a bar there, and the hot chocolates. Oh my days! But look at it, man. It's just rocks, bro. I just, because I don't drive, I can't get where I want. Let's look at another one. Fuck it. Actually, let's look at one I like. See, I don't know. No one gives a damn about this, to be honest. This is my favorite beach because there's this little rock thing here, yeah, and it's like it's quite dangerous because if you get caught in there when the tide comes in, you're stuck. But this is quite a fun bit. It's like you do a lot of crab fishing here and stuff like that, or not crab fishing, but like you find crabs and then you put them back in the waters. I don't know what I'm saying really, but yeah. Now let's see the worst beaches. Worst beach in. God, this is gonna be embarrassing, man. I mean, I think the Cromer one might be up there. Oh my days. I mean, okay, if you look at these, it's pretty easy to see which is bad, but I'm trying to look at like just ones that don't look great. I don't know, man. I mean, this water does not look good at all. That just looks like fucking a mess, man. Bro, when you compare the waters, it just isn't a comparison. But shit, I've had some good moments in them. Now let's see worst beach in the USA. Oh, SA. I guess all of the bad ones are just going to have like, litter in them, aren't they? There's the one, it's not a beach, is it? The one in California, the one with like all the toxic stuff in the water and all the fish like are dead and stuff. Is that a beach or is that just like a river? Because I know that's awful. If that's the case, that's probably number one. Windbreaker in the States is just a very light jacket. Not for riding by humans, but for children. I love that, man. You forgot the main thing. We have sunshine, lots of it. People in New Jersey don't go to the beach, we go down to the shore. That's brilliant. 100 years is a long time for American. 100 miles is a long way for a Brit. I've heard this saying so much, though. Maryland, crabs, Old Bay seasoning, Thrashers, French fries, life is good. Correction, New England lobster rolls, fried clams and clam bakes and stuffies. A secret second ocean outback. America's secret other ocean outback. But yeah, man, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts on this and let me know your sort of beach experience if you're from the UK or the US. Because I just love going to the beach. I mean, it doesn't compare to some of the tropical ones in the US. Not all of them will be tropical, a lot of them will be similar to the UK beaches. But yeah, man, just let me know your thoughts. And I mean, yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, peace.